we're going to talk about Saturn, specifically your Saturn return and what house it's in. What does it mean? My Saturn is in the 3rd house. Make sure you get your own natal chart. I'll post some links below so that you can find out what house your Saturn is in, and this video will make a whole lot more sense to you because you'll be able to say, so that's what it means. So for those of you who are new to astrology and don't even know what Saturn return is, make sure you watch my video on Saturn returns because I go into my experience with them and I also talk about what they mean and other stuff. So that might be really helpful. Your Saturn placement is going to say a lot about you and how you put your foot down, and also how you respect yourself. Do you even respect yourself? How do you show it? So for example, my Saturn is on the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces, and it's in the 3rd house. If your Saturn is also in Aquarius and Pisces or on the 3rd house, make sure you check out that video on Saturn returns because I talk about what that means. As a reminder, they occur every 29 years, give or take. So at the ages of 27 to 31, you'll experience your first Saturn return. Then at the ages of 56 to 60 years old, you'll experience your second Saturn return. And then between the ages of 84 and 90, you will experience your 3rd Saturn return. When Saturn returns, it is an extremely pivotal moment for you in your life. It's like a cosmic rite of passage. And depending on its location in your chart, it will manifest differently. And today we're going to look at how your Saturn return can manifest in your chart based on the house it's located in. So if you're watching this and you are in between Saturn returns, this is a good way to reflect and maybe prepare for the next one because like I said, there are 3. You're not over it, most likely. There's going to be another one. Please keep in mind that it's very difficult to read something like this by itself. So make sure you look at the other placements when you're reading your chart as well. 2nd house, the house of value, money, self-esteem, fun. Oh boy. Expect a major wake-up call during a Saturn return in the 2nd house. It might be so sudden you're like, whoa, what the fuck? You might gain money during this time. You might lose money. 2nd house has a lot to do with money a lot of the time. I feel like that's an easy definition, but it's mainly values and worth. And so for many of us, we associate worth with money. So yeah, money's a thing. Learning that not everything has a price. You might gain or lose something of value basically during this time. This is the time to stop people pleasing. Really evaluate your values and strengthen your boundaries. That's Saturn for you. People with this placement, they'll have to do a lot of work on their self-esteem and really explore their feelings. Letting go of people who no longer share your values or no longer doing activities that no longer align with your views or your values. Because I feel like we can often get very caught up in activities and doing things because that's what we've always done, right? But the thing is, this is the time for your values to cement themselves or to change into something else that is more in alignment with you. So if something's not serving you or it's not honoring your own boundaries or worth, then this is the time that you're going to really be confronted with all that. Those people who disrespect your boundaries, this is going to be the time when you're going to be having to decide, are they worth it anymore? Are they worth the pain? Are they worth the disrespect? You're going to have to cut them loose. The 2nd house is ruled by Venus, and Venus is the goddess of love. And you know what? This is going to be a time for you where you're going to have to really examine your self-love. You're going to have to learn to love yourself during this time. I feel like a lot of people don't have self-love until their Saturn return in this domain, in this placement. Self-love is such a major theme for them. They also go deeper during this time and they stop being so shallow, or they see how surface level things are. So they might be hanging out with this friend that they love their entire life, but they realize how shallow that person is and they want to go deeper. They suddenly have this urge to no longer just see things on the surface, but actually really get into things and connect more deeply. So they might try to make deeper connections, deeper relationships, deeper friendships. And they start to recognize that worth is not on the surface, it's more. Their materialistic values will morph during this time and be challenged. They might manifest things physically during this time. Volunteering can be a very beneficial thing for them to do during this time as well. Figuring out their role in their family might feel very important. Getting involved in physical tasks will become more important as well. They must stop making materialistic values more important than their own values. They may be called to move on and change locations during this time, or just do a lot of organizing and decluttering. Marie Kondo their homes. They also will need to work on dissecting their limiting beliefs about money or their feelings about scarcity and lack, and develop more confidence in themselves. So actually, my boyfriend Saturn is in the second house, and I actually met him during his Saturn return. And I remember it being such an amazing time for him. It was like a huge moment. He moved all the way across the country. He changed his friend groups. Like, it was a big deal. There was so much that happened. He got into a really wonderful relationship with me. But I remember it being a really weird time for him because he had grown up in this small town with this family that was feeding him a lot of information about stuff that he didn't necessarily agree with. He didn't agree with their values. And so this was his moment to really forge his own and really make his own place. And I just remember him struggling with the self-esteem. His values drastically changed, and he suddenly started to do things that felt more in alignment with him and less in alignment with the values that he was taught growing up, or things that he'd always felt comfortable doing no longer seemed to, like, I don't know, appeal to him as much. It just didn't. And I think it will definitely depend on the sign as well. Obviously, Sagittarius played a part in him moving across the country and him, trying to get out of his comfort zone in such a drastic way, right? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. Remember, read everything together, get your chart. It's beautiful. It all works together so beautifully. And if you like my content, please subscribe. Toodaloo.